I took off the display
Wait, how are we
message.
gonna intro this?
You know how it is. I'm gonna start it all cringy and whatnot, and then you jump in, and then we actually start. You know how these things are.
Yeah.
Um, Give me a second though. I want to see, cause right here I can actually check the settings. So view comments, yeah. Invite play, advanced settings. Let's go to advanced.
Do I have
See?
to like join the podcast to broadcast? I mean to talk.
No, we could literally just do what we did last time. Just, I'm the one recording, and all you did was literally just talk, and I just uploaded it on my channel. But, I mean, if
Alright.
you want to record yourself as well, then that's fine, but you don't have to. I'm basically the only one, that's going to be
Yeah,
uploading
no,
on my
it's
channel,
alright.
so.
You can. It's all you, bro.
Alright. So I checked the settings just now again. It seems to check up alright, so, um, it should be good. So, are you the one watching it right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure, because I was like, dang, that was
But
fast.
echoing is kind of distracting me, so I'm gonna leave.
Alright. Okay, so... the only thing I don't like is that I can't really see the on-air thing for some reason, but I'm just going to assume that
Fingers
it
crossed.
is... Yeah, that is recording, because every time I keep clicking the share button, it keeps pausing it, so... I'm assuming that I'm on the air, even if it
Can you
doesn't
like
show it.
edit this stuff?
No, I can't. I would have to
So
literally,
this is just gonna be in the YouTube video.
yeah, I would have to literally download the YouTube video on my computer, which if it was like 4 hours, you know how long that would take, especially my
Yeah, it
computer.
might cut it.
And yeah, so I would have to download the video. So,
Mmm.
second screen.
Alright.
So it's literally like the Fighter Z we did podcast. It'll be the same thing, except that
Yeah,
one
perfect.
was only an hour long. I feel like this one might be longer just because there's so much to talk about for Smash. The other one was
Yeah.
just too general, you know what I mean? So, um, so right now I'm doing the second screen thing, and I can see the chat on my phone now, so it won't be on the way of the video, so it'll look
Alright, cool.
slightly more professional. So that's good. All right. Dang, I wasted a lot of time talking. All right, here we go. um, What is up, guys? It's Xenoship Gaming here, and welcome to another podcast live stream video. And here we're going to be talking about Super Smash Brothers Ultimate and a bunch of other stuff of the games. Of course, I have the collaborator again from last time, the Kryptonian. What is up, man?
Yep. You
Yep.
know, chilling. Back at it. We're back at it.
Yeah, alright, to be fair, we did talk about the game already and whatnot way before we started the
Yeah,
video,
wait.
but
So most of this conversation you're gonna be hearing, we've already had.
yeah, pretty
But
much. But we're
just
gonna
for
be
the sake
going
of
in pretty deep though, so we haven't gone that deep before we started the video, so this should be pretty interesting. So let's talk about the direct itself, the one that Nintendo has posted yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, the day before actually.
yeah,
So let's talk about you first, man. What was your initial reaction when you first saw it?
the direct or like the Smash stuff.
No, no, just the direct that they posted 2 days ago. Like, what was your feelings?
Well, definite excitement because I'm always ready to hear what Nintendo's doing next. Because lately they've been really killing the game. Ever since the Wii came out, they've been killing the game. So I'm always pretty excited to hear what they got.
Yeah. So
Well, what about you? What was your reaction?
I
What were your
think
hopes?
I was like, in terms of the initial reaction, I was actually pretty hyped and whatnot. But in terms of like the aftermath, like, you know, the results, I would say I was pretty satisfied. I don't know about you, but I think what we got, I think it was good. I think it was a good direct
Well,
overall.
I have to agree with that. I'm usually pretty satisfied with these. You know?
Now, let's kind of rank the directs now. Which direct from the first one, which were three in total, from the first one to the last one they just uploaded 2 days ago. In your opinion, which direct was actually the best? And then go all the way to the bottom tier.
I don't know. That's kind of tough. Maybe. Gonna say the second one, dude.
Yeah. Honestly, I would have to agree with you. I was just thinking about the second one being the
Yes,
best one.
dude. Yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's kind of tough since like the most recent one was that was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, because like if you think about it, the way Sakurai, formatted the directs, I feel like the first two, especially the second one, was more of like announcing more fighters than anything else. And then the third one
Yeah.
was just like, okay, here's the last two fighters.
Now it's
Let's
story
talk
mode
about the
time,
rest of
like
the game,
just
you know what I
looking
mean?
at it as a whole, you know?
Yeah. So I feel like the third one wasn't so heavily focused on fighters like the second one was. So
Yeah.
I think, in my personal opinion, I think if you're viewing it as like just for the announcement of fighters, I feel like with that mentality, the second one might be the best bet for you.
Yeah.
Because the third one, if you guys haven't seen it yet, it wasn't heavy on fighters. Yeah, they announced some, but it wasn't like the whole direct wasn't about fighters.
Yeah.
So now that we ranked that, let's talk about the rest of. Let's talk about what the content of the direct was. So let's obviously the no-brainer stuff. Let's talk about the fighters they announced. Let's talk about Incineroar and Ken. What are your thoughts? Tell me what you think, bro. What's going on?
Alright. The first thing I thought, like the very first thing, was how satisfied I was. Little Mac getting punched in the jaw. It was pretty hilarious considering I played a lot of games against Little Mac. It's pretty annoying
Yo, how
in
can you
all
say that?
aspects.
Yo, these Little Mac fans, bro. Don't hurt them like that,
Yeah.
bro.
But the first thing I actually thought was the model for Ken. The character model for Ken is one of the best ones in any game, including him. This isn't even like a game about him or anything. But most games like Street Fighter 5 or the most recent ones.
Keep screen on. I don't know what that is. Oh, there we go. Okay. Text to speech. Okay. Alright, there we go. I was a little confused there. Okay. You still on, bro?
Yeah, hold on.
Alright. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. No freaking way. Okay, that was kind of dumb. Alright. He'll be right back, guys. He's just dealing with something real quick. But to fill in the silence, yeah, I would have to agree with what he said earlier, where Ken was beating up Little Mac and whatnot. I feel like that would be pretty realistic. Because, like, okay, I know that Super Smash Bros. Really isn't the type of game to call the shots in terms of, like, who is the most OP character, who would be the strongest out of the other ones. Because in Smash, the way things work, everyone is strong in their own way, and that alone can make them a really powerful fighter that could stand up even to, like, the strongest technical characters, like, say, I don't know, like Link or Bowser, you know what I mean? So definitely, I guess a lot of, like, people would say, oh no, Little Mac, they would say the offense, they would say the opposite, like, oh no, Little Mac would be more powerful than Ken. And in terms of, like, how Smash works, yeah, that could be true. But since, if you played Street Fighter and you've grown to see these characters duke it out and whatnot, you would know
Alright, my
that.
bad.
Alright, yeah, I was just feeling the awkward silence, so that
Yeah,
would
it's all good. It's all good. Thanks
yeah,
for that.
no problem. But I was just saying that
Happened.
when before you jumped in, I was just talking about how you are right. I agree with you when you were saying, oh, that Ken beat up Little Mac and whatnot. And funny enough is that even though we say that, technically Smash isn't really the game. Despite all the characters it has, it isn't the game to say, oh, these characters are more powerful than the other characters are in the game. Technically, the game makes it out to seem that every character is powerful in their own way. Every character can
Yeah,
stand up to
exactly.
any character. So yeah,
Like
in that,
it didn't have to be Little Mac that got beat up. Like it literally could have been anybody.
yeah, exactly. So, in terms of like how the game works, yeah, it's true, like you have every right to get mad or whatever, but at the same time, you have to understand that we've played Street Fighter and if you played Street Fighter enough to like see these characters duke it out and like you've grown into them, you would know that. I mean, they're pretty powerful characters, so it's only natural that if you put them in a game filled with all these, no offense, kind of slightly lower, less tier, it's only natural for him to like be more powerful. That's just my
Yeah.
opinion on like how tiers work and whatnot. But
Most
you
people would
know,
agree.
but let's talk about Ken's combos. What do you think? I know that you and I haven't really been big on like the really really classic Street Fighters. We're more of like the quote unquote modern Street Fighter
I was
guys,
pretty
but
big with
like
it. I basically grew up with Street Fighter. My dad used to play in the arcades as a kid,
hmm
and he's always liked video games, so I kind of grew up that way.
So how would you say,
And
the combos that Sakurai
it does
picked?
justice to the old games and the new ones, especially like with the style of like how the background looks. It's kind of like cel shaded with all like the fire effects and stuff like that. It does justice to Street Fighter and Ken.
So you would say that Sakurai captured the Ken that you know in Smash.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And his model is definitely the best character model for any Ken of any Street Fighter game, hands
I would
down.
I would have to agree. I would have to agree with that because just like I stated to him, previously, to me it's like Sakurai captured like the classic kind of aspect, but definitely modernized it. So it's nothing.
Yeah,
It doesn't look alienated. You don't look at the Ken model and be like, is that even Ken? It's Ken. But you also
yeah.
don't get like odded out either. I think it looks fine. I think he looks fantastic.
And
I
I
don't.
think the biggest crossover ever, how Sakurai kind of has that, that title, he's created it. How there's more Street Fighter characters, it's kind of exciting because, having just Ryu, you're like, okay, we have Ryu now. But we're having a bunch of characters like from Castlevania and Incineroar, like you can't really see their models or like character models or moves, like you can't really see them done justice in games, like the games they're from, like the old Castlevania. It's kind of pixelated and 2D, so you can't really see much. So it really brings a new life to the characters. Like, for example, like the Castlevania characters and Incineroar, all those people.
Yeah, definitely. I would have to agree with that. And now that you've mentioned that, I would have to also add to it that, I think in terms of like Sakurai and his team, I would say it's even harder to try to get some characters that, like you said, are pixelated and get every fine detail, like their combos, to match it up their classic models. I think that's pretty difficult. But nonetheless, I think he did a great job. I think that if you're a super fan of a character that he added in, you won't be dissatisfied because it's like he said, he got every little detail, like their little punches, all the animation, to match up with where they came from. So I think that I think they did a really good job
Yeah.
doing all those little details. I don't know if any other, if I can speak for any developer out there that would try to do the same amount of things, because we have some lazy development teams out there, and
Yeah.
I think Sakurai makes an exception in terms of laziness because even though I guess, even though the guy has like some questionable motives with some regards, I feel like aside from that, he's a pretty good developer overall, and his team.
Yeah.
So I would
I
say
don't think
they're pretty
anyone
good.
can really deny that.
Yeah.
A lot of people in Nintendo there, they usually have a lot of good developers like
Yeah,
that.
I would. Yeah, yeah, I totally agree.
Sakurai's probably the most famous.
hmm Now that we talked about Ken, it's really cool that he has two Final Smashes like Ryu. It was no surprise to me that that he has two Final Smash because I mean, come on, Ryu has two as well, so it would be kind of weird if Ken only had one. But I think the fact that Ken and Ryu's in the game, who knows if they might add like in the DLC, which we'll get into a little bit later on. But who knows if the DLC might have even more Street Fighter characters, you know? Who knows?
I mean, I don't doubt it. How many characters are left, for DLC and stuff like that? I'm
For
sure
what
there
for what they
will be a lot.
announced, they said 5, so who knows? I don't know.
I think one of the most iconic ones would probably be Chun-Li. I think she's definitely going to be, hypothetically speaking.
Right.
If there were to be another Street Fighter character, it would be her.
I agree. I agree. She's iconic too. Just like Ken and Ryu, she was like there since the beginning, so definitely she started with the franchise. Now let's talk about Incineroar. What are your thoughts, dude? Because I know you ain't a Pokemon fan or anything like that. You don't even play the games, but like, what do you think of Incineroar in Smash?
Well, like a lot of the Pokemon characters, like Lucario, Greninja, I really like their look,
Right.
They all look really cool, and they all have really cool powers. And, Greninja has his water stuff, Lucario's on his, like, weird magic stuff, so is Mewtwo. They're with their psychic, whatever, type Pokemons.
Right. Right.
Incineroar is, like, a really cool, other than Charizard, fire type Pokemon, which is what I really wanted to see in, like Pokemon characters as, for Smash.
Right.
Now that
So
we got it, I'm pretty satisfied. He looks really awesome. His combos, his powers look really cool, and I'm excited to actually be playing it.
yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm the same with that. Would you say that Smash is a good game for those who, play the game, even the hardcore players, for maybe some characters that they don't recognize or are a huge fan of to particularly like them, even in the game? Like, maybe they don't like the character originally from where they're from, but like in Smash, Sakurai just brings out the best of them, and it makes you even want to at least
Like
play
I
them
said,
once.
with a lot of these characters, like Incineroar, for example, is a perfect example. He brings new life to characters, give them like a little more personality with their moves, the way with the way they move, the way they since there's voice acting in the game, I don't know, the way they talk, the way they fight, and their character models in general, like it brings a whole new life to some of these characters.
Right, definitely. Would you say that you would be kind of jealous for the Incineroar fans because like can we talk about how much detail the character has? I mean, he has animation
Yeah.
for reactions, dude. Like let's say for example he punched the opponent and he misses, he'll actually react to that. But it won't be the same if he actually landed the punch. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot of detail. I don't know. A lot of characters
Well,
don't
with
have that.
Smash, there's no lack of detail for sure. There's a lot of it.
Right.
Requires a lot of detail.
But like you gotta admit though, Incineroar, the fact that he has like reactions and emotions in every attack, I think that's actually really cool. And I would say that alone kind of surprised me in when they announced Incineroar.
Definitely. So now that we've talked about some of the characters, um, let's talk about the thing about this direct that really sparks everyone's interest.
Would that be the World of Light, aka the story mode?
Yep.
I have a lot of stuff to say about that, like a lot. We're gonna go into really nitty gritty stuff with things, so we're gonna sound like humongous geeks here, but I mean, you have to admit, Sakurai put a lot of effort into the cinematic, so it's only fair that we, talk about it because we wouldn't even be doing justice to Sakurai and his team and in their work of efforts if we didn't even talk about it, right? So
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about it. So let's talk about the obvious things first because that's like super easy to talk about, and then let's talk about some things that maybe not everyone noticed. So first things first, let's talk about the general cinematic. Can I just say how the voice acting was pretty lit? I think it was good.
Yeah, and the animation in general, it looked like a show or a movie or something. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, so let's judge it.
A
Let,
lot of time and work.
right. Let's judge it like comparing it with the first Smash game to ever have any type of cinematic, which you know which one that would be. That would be Super Smash Bros. Brawl. What do you think? Like I think the jump from Brawl cinematic to now is a huge improvement. Like you look at Brawl cinematic, and at that time you thought they were really good, and now you look at it like, wow, dude, the Ultimate cinematic looks so
About
beautiful.
Smash Ultimate, though, like the whole thing, they're improving every single thing about it. About
Yeah,
Smash.
Definitely. So, what were your thoughts when you saw the cinematic? Did you feel like this was justice to Brawl, like in terms of story? Do you think this is good? A good replacement? Do you think it's not as good as Subspace MS? Like, what do you think?
I'm a little worried. I'm not gonna lie. Because the clone thing, it's done a lot. Fighter Z, they've done it. A bunch of other games have done it. A bunch of other fighting games that, don't want to have actual enemies that are outside of the characters. They just use clones because that's the easiest thing to do. You don't have to make any new characters. You just have characters from the roster,
Right, right.
I mean, it makes sense in fighting games, because that's all you're gonna do is be fighting those characters for the rest of the game. But I'm kind of hopeful though. With all these new characters, I wonder what else they'll do with the story. Who's behind, all of this stuff?
Right. So, would you say that, in terms of like how really the story how deep it is, will you miss the Subspace Emissary type of vibe, that how deep it was, or not really?
I definitely I will, but that's the thing about Smash Ultimate. They're improving everything about Smash. That would include the story mode. So I know it won't disappoint.
So you think the decision that Sakurai and their team have made to make the story mode maybe not as deep in lore, do you think that was a good decision overall?
I think it makes up for it with all the other modes, all the new characters. Every single character from Smash is going to be there for us. It definitely
Yeah,
it makes up for it.
definitely. I would have to say that the way the way the cinematic played out, I just feel like Sakurai literally watched Infinity War and he was like, all right, now it's my turn, because
Played Fire Z for an hour and watched Infinity War and was like, yeah, I got the story.
Yeah, for real, because like it was literally Infinity War but with Nintendo characters. I guess in a way some people would say that's a cop out of a story, but I actually dig it. I don't know about you, but I think it's a really cool thing. I definitely like it.
And that whole World of Light thing, like it's kind of interesting. I wonder.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
with like the map, they have like a bunch of activities you can do other than fight during the story mode. And, you can walk around the map,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I even liked all the little details where, like, for example, the characters, the way they tried to maybe fight or escape the beams of light, like how, Sonic could have technically ran a little bit faster, but he was catching up to, so he can help Pikachu. Snake with the box, that was hilarious, dude. I started laughing with that. Even the most minute details, like, the way the last thing that the Wii Fit trainer was gonna do was a freaking stretch before her death. Like, what the heck, man? Like, that was pretty funny.
Well, as a Wii Fit trainer, what else can she do other than stretch?
Yeah, that's true. So every character definitely showed their personality. Like, I find it funny that at the beginning they were all like, no matter what happens, man, we're gonna stand our ground. Literally minutes within the death of just some characters, some of the other characters that just managed to survive a bit literally were like, nah, never mind, we just dip, man, it's not worth it, it's not worth it. Like, Captain Falcon is the perfect example, dude. Like, and Falco, bro, they dipped, bro. That was it, they were gone. That was pretty funny though. But I guess that kind of covers the general stuff. Let's go to the deep stuff. Okay, let's talk about the beams of light, of how all those master hands were, in the air like that. Like, you remember in the Subspace Emissary and whatnot, there was like Master Hand and Crazy Hand.
Yeah.
Did you see how all of them were Master Hand and not a single one was Crazy Hand? What do you think the deal with that is?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe Crazy Hand's behind it though. Like he's just got a bunch of master hands at his will or something, or I don't know. And then they just kind of like it just kind of fell apart after a while. It kind of evaporated, and then the beams of light started coming for them. I don't know. It just seems like sort of random. I'm sure it's deeper than that, but
right. And I think Sakurai and their team did a good job to make this enemy looked very intimidating. Besides killing off all the characters, because you remember in Subspace Emissary, Master Hand and Crazy Hand were like pretty big masterminds besides Taboo, and the fact that you've seen all these like clones, it's the only thing I can like come up with of these Master Hands, and then later just deteriorating into this weird energy and then going into this big winged thing, you know, it just makes it seem like, wow, they're not so big and mighty anymore, you know? That's pretty crazy. Now, what do you think that wing thing is? Because, like, do you think Taboo could be back? Because I don't really remember the story, like, every detail, but I feel like we killed Taboo in Subspace Emissary, right? I think we killed him.
I don't remember, to be honest. Like, it's been so long since I've played the story mode in that game.
I don't know. I feel like we did kill him. So, do you think if, you know, he did die in the game, do you think he could come back somehow? Or, I don't know.
I mean, the fact that Master Hand is here, you know, Crazy Hand might be behind it, I think there's no limitation to who the enemy is. It could literally be anybody.
What are your take on the enemy? Do you think it's going to be a classic enemy they're bringing back, or do you think it's a new foe that we've never seen before?
That's kind of sick, actually.
I don't know. I don't think it's a new one because they brought back the Master Hand stuff. Like, the whole thing about Smash Ultimate is probably just going to be like going back to its roots, you know. Speaking of like all the characters being back in the game from all the past Smash games, I think it would be kind of cool if they brought like a throwback enemy, like an original one, you know?
Right. So, so you don't think they're gonna have a new enemy? That's interesting because, as you can see, they tried to make it seem like there might be, but you know that's how it works.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's what I'm saying. Like that's how it seems, but like I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that. You know, they made it seem like it. You know, Taboo ain't coming back, or even Crazy Hand for that matter, since we didn't see his appearance at all. But they might just trick you and be like, oh, guess what? They're actually the main enemy of the story. So who knows?
Again, it could literally be anything. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Yeah, which again is not a bad thing. You know, some people might think it's just a cop out, but I think that's okay. I mean, a bunch of different shows and movies and games use classic enemies again or old enemies that you faced before and it works. You know, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that's fine. They can make it work. Let's talk about how the beams of light, for like how they were trying to kill every character. The one that interested me the most, like the way that battle went, was actually the first one to die, and that's Link. Did you notice anything in particular before I actually reveal the little details? Like anything, well, besides him dying, did you see anything that maybe stood out a bit and you're like, huh, that's interesting?
Not really anything like special with anyone else dying.
Well, what about Link? I mean, like with Link, you didn't notice anything kind of interesting?
No.
No? Alright, well, I've noticed it after watching it like a couple times already, and if you watch the cinematic again, where Link is trying to fight off the beams of light, and when you obviously have seen the cinematic, the lights kill every character so effortlessly, like it's just so powerful. Link actually fought it off with the Master Sword and even blocked it with the Hylian Shield. I bet you didn't notice that.
Yeah, you're right, he did block it.
Exactly. So even though Sakurai isn't like the direct,
like, he's still gonna die like everybody else. And when he died, I was like, okay. And then everyone else died. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Right.
They all had they tried to put their defenses up, and it kind of just evaporated them. But
exactly.
I didn't notice that he did fight.
Yeah. So even though Sakurai isn't,
it can be like an actual story element.
It might. Who knows? If they do that, that would be really cool because it goes back to the lore of the Zelda games where, the Master Sword and the Hylian Shield are like holy weapons or whatever, so they can just block almost anything. I don't want to say anything, but almost anything. So the fact that this new threat wasn't able to kill him without him blocking, I thought that was pretty good. I was like, wow, the amount of detail of the character was pretty good. The only reason why they killed him is because I mean, did you see how many of those light beams were? There was just too many, man. Like, wow.
Yeah,
It was
I
too
don't think
many.
anyone could have countered that.
Yeah, no. But the fact that he blocked at least like two of those beam light, one with the Hylian shield, one with the Master Sword, that was awesome. So, I think in terms of like who would stand up the most out of the beam of lights, I'd say Link is one of them. I'd say Link is fair game. I think he could have stand up
Kirby,
maybe.
definitely.
Well, yeah, obviously, but
Kirby had the juice.
yeah, he's the survivor, so definitely he's the number one. But I would say easily number two would be Link. The fact that he was able to block it, unlike anyone else, at least for a couple of seconds, that's a pretty impressive feat that no one else pulled off, you know?
Yeah, but it would have been cool if like anybody else could have gotten away, but oh well.
Right, yeah. I would have to assume that that is the way you unlock the fighters, because, you know, you
Yeah,
start
I mean-
out, yeah, you start off with just like, I think he said like 6 fighters at first, so I'm assuming you
But
have
they
to...
were, you know how Mario was in like that neon blue, like barbed wire looking thing wrapped up. I'm assuming like you have to like go find that location where they are.
Mm-hmm.
All the other characters though.
Yeah, that's what I would assume too. But that's fine. That totally works. Again, it works for me. Some people would prefer if all the characters were just accessible from the start, but I personally disagree. I think it would be better if the game kind of rewarded you when you're playing the story to give you fighters for you to play later on. You know, I think that's fine. I think it works just fine. And the fact that no one else was able to block it is kind of weird because there's some pretty powerful characters. And let's also talk about Shulk, because I've been meaning to talk about that. What the heck was he thinking, man, of not telling them what was going on, dude? Like, he foresaw the future, and he didn't say a word, dude. Like, what was up with that?
I mean, he didn't really have time to be honest. Like, it
Dang,
was, like, 2
man, but
seconds,
like...
and he was like, and then the beams of light started coming out. So he was just like, all right, I'm out of here.
Dang, yeah, when
Actually,
the...
yeah, you're right. He's kind of messed up for that one.
Yeah, like, wow, dude. He was the only one to even see that happening, and dang, dude, I don't know. That was kind of messed up. I feel like with Doctor Strange, for example, at least when he saw the future, he did something. Even though, obviously, since the second one didn't come out yet, it's kind of questionable that he gave him the Infinity Stone, but, you know, then again, he didn't explain what that future foretold. So if that was the only solution for them to win, then obviously he had to do it. But my boy Shulk didn't do anything. He was just like, oh, guys. And they're all like, what? And he's just like, and then the beams of light come out. You're like, dude, spit it out, bro. Like, wow. Like, who knows? Maybe he could have spared at least a couple fighters. Maybe not everyone, but I don't know. Besides Kirby, I don't know. Maybe someone else could have been with Kirby. I also felt bad for Kirby. Like, dang, he's all by himself.
Yeah, dude, he was running though. He was like, I'm out of here, yo.
Yeah.
Screw Sanders now.
Yeah, for real. Now he has to save everyone too. Would you say the story mode, not the whole game obviously, but would you say the story mode is just a disguised Kirby game or what? Like, that's what a lot of people are saying. Like, I don't know if
I think it will be at the beginning, since you're only surviving like character.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna feel like it at the beginning for sure.
But
once you start unlocking more characters,
yeah, so I think when you unlock characters, it'll be kind of like Fighter Z, where you get to use those characters. I think that's how it might work. Where, yeah, you're limited to like Kirby, but like, you know, once you unlock the fighter after fighting them, then maybe you can use them right after. You know, that's what I'm assuming.
It takes a lot from Fighter Z story mode, which is why I'm worried. Because Fighter Z story mode, I wasn't really a fan of.
Right. Like, I think the cinematics were completely fine and whatnot, but the progression is just not as fun.
It's grueling. It's like, it's a chore to me.
Which is funny too, because
they're all the same, fighting the same clones over
I
and
know,
over and
yeah.
over.
The only thing that changes is...
That's the thing. With all these characters, there's gonna be like, by the end of the story mode, you might not even like fight all the clones, or you'll fight all the clones. But that's the thing about it. Like, you'll have to like fight every single character, which is something I'm kind of looking forward to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because the roster for Fighter Z definitely isn't as big, so that's why I wasn't that much of a fan of it. But
Yeah, it's
who
like
knows?
that made the story slightly shorter too because since the game relied so heavily on the whole clone thing, that basically once you recovered every fighter, that was basically it. I mean, yeah, there was the final boss, but then that was it. And then you're like, oh
Yeah.
crap, there it goes, the story mode. And the weird thing is that they also have like these different arcs in Fighter Z, and I feel like what sucks is, in a way, is that none of the arcs tie in with the other. Like it's just kind of like what you played in the first one, then that's it, and then you start fresh on a new one. So it feels kind of weird, in my personal
It just
opinion.
kind of feels like different alternate stories.
Yeah, which I think again that's what they were going for. I don't know if they, plainly stated that before the game came out. I don't remember, but I mean, the way it works, I guess it's fine. But I just feel like it would have been kind of cool to just see like the next arc kind of carry over what you just finished on the last one. I think that would like a show. I think that would be kind of cool. Maybe slightly better than what they did, but who knows? I mean, I'm not a developer, so I wouldn't know. Um, but how difficult do you think the story mode will be in Smash? Since it's so similar to Fighter Z.
I think it'll no matter what, it's gonna be better than Fighter Z story mode. It's a no-brainer.
Right.
Um, but the fighting's obviously gonna be a lot different with a lot of new characters. Since a lot of them are being buffed. Most of them are being buffed. I don't know about anybody being nerfed yet, which also kind of scares me. Um, I know a lot of people's Final Smashes are different, which is awesome. Like Bowser and Little Mac, which is a big change.
hmm
A lot of big changes in Fighter Z, and I think it's going to be the best Smash out there. Maybe the
Yeah,
last one.
maybe. Yeah, I would have to say that's true. Um, I would say in terms of difficulty, if you can't like if there's no option for it, I would say it's pretty like simple, like really stupid easy at first. But since there's so many fighters and we don't know how the story will work because we don't have the game yet. I feel like it'll actually get really difficult. Like it might actually really get complicated. Who knows?
With
Like
all
how,
these
how
new characters, if you they're probably going to throw like the new characters at the beginning. That'd be crazy because you got to learn how to play these characters. Because a lot of if you're using a lot of the old characters, old people who used to play Smash already know how to use them.
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's going to be a challenge for basically every player to play as the old players.
yeah,
Especially kids who played like maybe the most recent Smashes and didn't play like any of the old ones that had old characters.
mm-hmm. Right.
And with these new characters, you know, everyone's gonna be challenged, which is something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, definitely. Um, Now let's talk about the whole because I think that's it for the story. I guess they didn't actually reveal too much from the story, which is no
That's
surprise
basically it.
because if they did, it would kind of be kind of lame because you would want to figure that stuff out on your own anyway. So the fact that we even got a confirmation of the story mode with a whole cinematic and just a general like overview of how it'll work, I think that's completely fine, and I was satisfied with that. Let's talk about the spirits. Now, I know that you and I really played a lot of the fourth one, the Wii U one. And
Right.
you and I have a very unpopular opinion, like very unpopular, that you and I enjoyed the whole custom fighting thing where you were able to change their abilities, change their stats and whatnot. I remember you and I were a
Yeah.
big fan of that. What do you think about the spirits? Do you think that's a good substitute? Do you think it's better than the old customization options?
I don't think it's any better. I think a lot of things about Smash Ultimate are different, and a lot of them are, it's for better or worse. Like it really depends on people's opinion on it. But they're similar systems, just done differently. At the end of the day, you're doing the same thing. So I think it'll be just as good, or who knows? I'd have to try it actually, but it looks all right. It doesn't look bad.
Exactly. And do you think which one involves more strategy? from what you've seen, and then from the Wii U, from what you played, do you think that the spirits involve a lot more thinking of what you have to put into the character to make him stronger, or do you think it's even easier than the last one?
I don't think it's easier than actually. I think the last one was easier than with the spirits and stuff.
Yeah,
Because basically it's all in your fingers. You can do whatever you want with them. You can change their stats. You can do whatever. I'm not sure about the spirits. You know, is there really like no limit or what's the limitations? What's the you know what I'm saying?
yeah. There's definitely got to be some catches to using
There's a
them,
lot.
you know?
There's a lot that we don't know about it yet.
Yeah, which is really ironic saying that because they actually went into grand detail of the spirits. Which, in your opinion, when you were watching it, did you at all get confused of what they were talking about? Because I personally haven't, but I've been actually watching these videos of people reacting to it or whatever, and they actually got confused of what they were talking about with the
Yeah,
spirits.
it's confusing. It is a little confusing. You know, that's why I'm saying like, oh, we don't know much about it because there's literally a lot we don't know. Like it's just I feel like it's like an experience type thing. Like you gotta actually have it in your hands. You have to actually use it to be able to like really know how it works with all these characters. But
Yeah,
it seems like a solid enough system, like to actually work in a Smash game.
yeah. And do you think that it's a good thing that they also added a separate mode for you to, like fight other players or even computers, like online or offline, with the spirits thing? Like, what do you feel about that?
I think that I think it's necessary because a lot of people probably won't like this mode or whatever, or think oh it's not fair because you have this that. It becomes very technical at that point. And if you're just like trying to like fight with characters at their original state and just like casually, then you'd want to do that. But if you want to like get like the best combination, the best stats on every character, you would use that. Like for the pros, I guess.
Yeah, right, right. I feel like this game really caters a lot into both pro players and even new players. I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
really good. That's really
I
good.
think new players are since like there are a lot of new characters, they can like kind of start maining these new characters with the old players. So
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of people who will main new characters are probably new players, or that's it's just a speculation.
Right, right. Um,
'Cause a lot of old
Also,
players will probably stick with the people they've been playing.
yeah, that might be us, low key, but we're not
Yeah.
afraid to
No,
try the
I'm
new
really
ones either.
interested to look into the new players.
Definitely, me
I'm
too.
definitely not going to be one of those people who are just going to play as the people. I've never been one to play it safe. I always try a lot of new things, especially with Smash.
Mm-hmm. Which wouldn't even hurt at the end of the day, it'll be worth the experience. In your opinion, since you've got a little bit of experience with the Switch, do you feel like Joy-Cons are gonna do justice on this game, or do you think you need a Pro controller at least?
Oh, I'm getting that Pro controller or the Game Boy controller because I always used to use those two.
The GameCube one, yeah.
I'm not looking forward to using the Joy-Cons for Smash.
Yeah,
But again, it's something I'll try. Like I'm gonna try it.
right. So I think, in my opinion, since we would be more hardcore on the hardcore side of like Smash, maybe the Joy-Cons won't do justice for the game. But for new
Yeah,
players, I
it's really
think
not.
it might be good for new players, at least for a temporary time. I think it'll be fine. It
If
won't.
anyone's gonna master it, it's definitely gonna be the new players because the old players are gonna.
Yeah, yeah. I would
I hate to
say.
like put them all in a group, but like they're gonna use what works.
Yeah. Now, in your opinion, what would be the best controller? Would it be, well, I guess we would have to exclude the Joy-Cons for that. Would it be the Pro controller or the GameCube controller?
Definitely GameCube.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something like it's in your hands. It's comfortable. It's a good controller. It's definitely one of like the best controllers Nintendo has ever made. But the Pro controller it's pretty good too. It's I don't like to say it's equal. Like I prefer the GameCube controller by like a little bit, you know. But
Right.
that's just my preference. But like if we're talking about like the actual controllers, I think yeah they're about the same in how they work. You know, they work pretty well.
Yeah, for what you want them to do, the feel and the performance for the
Yeah.
game, they both do just fine, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
They both feel good, but I just prefer the Game Boy, GameCube. Damn.
Right.
I think I
Yeah.
said it twice already, but whatever.
Yeah. I agree, and a lot of hardcore players would also say that too. But again, if we're talking about like bringing in new players, I personally don't think it'll do any harm using Joy-Cons. I just think that if you're gonna try to master the game, if that's even your desire, I feel like Joy-Cons may not be the best option. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We haven't played the game yet, so I could be entirely wrong. And I would be probably crazy to saying this, but maybe I might prefer the Joy-Cons depending on how they coded the game. I don't know. I haven't played it yet, but from what I can tell and my experience with Smash, I just don't think the Joy-Cons would do. But again, I'm willing to admit that I'm wrong when I'm wrong, you know. So who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it all will just depend when the game's out and everyone can get their hands on it.
Yeah.
Literally. On these
Um,
controllers.
yeah.
Well,
Oh,
actually, that's,
also let's talk about like the DLC characters. What are your feels? Are you like do you support it or do you approve it? Do you think it's,
of
wrong like
course,
some people do?
DLC, I'll always approve DLC unless it's on the disc. If 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 downloadable content is on the disc already, like what Marvel Capcom did, how they were going to give people who own PS Vitas the DLC characters for free. Um, when you put the disc in, DLC characters were already like in the roster. They were already there. You would just have to buy them and unlock them. If it's already on the disc, you should give us what's on the disc, what we paid for. You know.
Right.
But if it's downloadable content, like actually like downloading the characters, now it's in the roster, now all that,
Right.
um, then yeah, I support it. I support DLC
Right.
wholeheartedly.
Yeah, because there is
I
a
think
yeah, there's a
people who have
huge
that extra penny, they can do it, but it's not like pay to win. Like you won't, you know, win more games if you buy certain characters.
right. Yeah, especially the way they're
That's all I
formatting
really
this game.
that's all I really hope for is that it's fair. If it's not, then then I won't support it. But
Right.
it's
Um,
fair, definitely.
yeah, and the DLC. There's a big debate with the DLC. There's a lot of people saying that it's bad, that they shouldn't do that. They don't support DLC. They think they'll break the game. And then there's other people that do support it, and they think that it'll even improve the game. I personally,
I understand why they say these things because I mean, Captain Four in the last Smash, a lot of characters were overpowered. Like was Bayonetta? Wasn't she DLC?
yes, she was.
Yeah, and she's definitely like one of the most overpowered characters in the game.
Or
Thing
your
about
personal favorite.
Sakurai and Nintendo, they really overpower their DLC, so I get it. I get why people don't support it.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
as long as you're aware of this, then I think everyone should be aware that it'd be like that. You know,
Yeah,
Nintendo does make the DLC overpowered. The Sakurai makes the DLC overpowered.
right, right.
Everyone just kind of has to understand that now. So I get why people don't want DLC. I'm just kind of looking forward to what else they can do because the more characters, the better, in my opinion. You
Oh
know?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree. A bigger roster is better because there's like a lot of fighting games out here that we've played, and now that you've played them, you've experienced them, um, it's just not the same not having so many characters, especially when you want a certain character in the game that you know they have absolute room for that they don't put. It's very frustrating, you know. I feel
Yeah.
like Smash is a perfect example of what we would actually really want in a fighting game for the near future, you know. We want a lot of characters, not the opposite. We don't want less, we want more, you know. I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of these development teams and companies think that, oh, a lot of players prefer less, so that way it won't be overwhelming to the player who's trying to master it and won't get like destroyed or whatever. But I actually think it's the opposite. I feel like, I mean, I can't speak for everyone,
It's
obviously.
easier to get destroyed with less characters because if people find characters that are better than some or they're better at some characters than others, people who aren't good with some characters will have less options. The more options, the more chance they can find someone that actually matches their playstyle.
Yeah, exactly. So I just feel like I don't know. I feel like we need more characters. I know we keep bringing it back to it, and by no means do we mean it's a bad game or anything. But like for example, Fighter Z, like you know that they can put way more characters in the game. Like there are so many Dragon Ball characters that you just want in
Gogeta,
there.
Vegito.
Yeah,
And what's funny is that when the game launched, they said that they weren't going to make as many repeat characters like for Goku and Vegeta, but um, there's 3 versions of Goku and Vegeta in the game.
yeah, that's true,
It
and
just
that's
seems like a waste of space.
yeah. I'm actually glad that you brought that up because the way the Smash works, which I will admit I never really um, treated the game like that because I didn't really, I wasn't really aware of it. But when you learn from other people who've experienced this game ever since it first came out, since the Nintendo 64, you would do well to learn from them because they technically learned it before you did. So. For example, I would say the rules of like the character roster are actually slightly different with Smash than with most fighting games, which I learned very recently actually. In terms of the numeration and the characters, there is no such thing as a waste of a slot, which I find that's super funny because I'm so used to a lot of fighting games saying, oh, there's a limited amount of fighters, and like sometimes they don't even make sequels. So it's like, yeah, that's it, that's all you get. So when there's a character that gets in and it's rather lame or you're not even into it, then it's called a waste slot, That's typically how it works. But the fact that Smash doesn't work like that, I actually really appreciate it and maybe even be a little bit jealous of how it works because like I kind of want every other game to be like that, No such thing as a waste character slot. Like that's not a thing. Like if you say that, that's technically incorrect for Smash. I think that's bizarre, but really cool. I feel like a lot of games should do that, That would be really cool, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
Yeah. And what do you think about the Piranha Plant?
The Piranha Plant?
Yeah.
Speaking of waste of space, nah, I'm just kidding. But I think it's a little silly. But that's what I like about Smash. They can do that. They can add whatever they want because they already have like what people want.
Right.
Most of the characters that people ask for. So if they keep adding characters, they can have fun with it. That's what's wrong with Fighter Z. They don't have enough characters. They have to be like super careful what they put because they don't want to add that many characters in their roster.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter how many characters are in the roster, so they can add whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why would you want to put limitations on that? Like, but again, Fighter Z is a good game, awesome. But,
Yeah, totally. I agree with that. Some of these games would take notes and learn from Smash in terms of like character roster and diversity or whatever because it really is a true Nintendo crossover fighting game. Like all these characters that you wouldn't even imagine are fighting in one game. I think that's really cool too. Do you think that the stages are overwhelming, or do you? In my opinion, I am just astonished, and I honestly support it in every way. I feel like the more stages, just like the characters, the merrier. Like there's 150 stages. How wild is that, dude? That's a lot of stages.
well, with the biggest crossover ever, you gotta have some pretty iconic stages from these games that are in these, that these characters are from. It only makes sense with the more characters that they're adding, the more maps they're adding, or more stages.
Yeah, definitely,
So
dude.
I support it, and I'm looking forward to maybe in DLC. Maybe it's not just characters. Maybe they'll add new stages and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Which is what
Sakurai announced that every DLC pack will have a character, a stage, and a bunch of music tracks with it. So it's confirmed to have
Dude,
stages.
I don't see why anyone would not want to support that. That sounds pretty awesome to me.
I know, yeah, that's like amazing. I don't think it's overwhelming in any way. I mean, maybe it is, but in a good way, I think that's really awesome. I think, in my opinion, Smash Ultimate is going in a wonderful direction. I feel like nothing about it is gonna go wrong. Again, we don't have the games in our hand.
I
but
mean, don't jinx it.
I mean, yeah, but like if we're judging it based on what we know and what they showed us, and if they promise to deliver what they told us, then I think it's a pretty promising game. Um,
Yeah,
in
it looks
terms of
good.
like modern games, it is kind of, I guess, a hefty price. $60, and then if you get the bundle, it's like 100 something. Um, but I think it'll be a worthwhile game. Obviously nowadays it's kind of questionable. You have to put a lot of research into it if you really want the game. Not
Yeah,
everyone has just $60 just flying out of their pockets, right? But I feel like this is worth a family game. It's also worth, even for the hardcore players, I think it's worth the buy. Um, Also, let's talk about one thing that I can think of that was actually kind of stupid in the direct, because we did talk about a lot of the good stuff, but there's at least one bad thing about it. And did you see how they recommended players for us to use the LAN Wi-Fi cable? I thought that was dumb. This is
yeah.
2018, Nintendo. Come on, like
You going wireless, dog?
yeah, like, dude, like, it's 2018 and you guys still are with this problem. That actually has me concerned because if they're recommending us, they're not even like saying it's an option. No, no, they're recommending that the fact that we should use this and buy it leads me to believe that the service of the online will be garbage,
Yeah,
I,
why would they recommend that then?
exactly. I'm actually really concerned. So think about that. If you're a hardcore player and you're like, if you're so crazy as to buy the bundle, that's already 120 bucks, maybe more, depending where you live. Then you got to buy the different controllers because we all have different preferences of how we play, and then you also got to get the Wi-Fi LAN cable. You're looking at almost over 200 bucks, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
no, this not. People don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
Not these days.
Yeah, so I think that was a huge Debbie Downer. I feel like they shouldn't have done that, but again, maybe they'll improve it. But that's me just hopefully thinking. That's just wishful thinking. I don't know. There's no, there's no confirmation in the slightest, but that would be nice if they
Switch
improved
is
it.
so new, and like I don't know, it's not as powerful as like. Well, I think it's almost as powerful as like Xbox One, and PS4. But if it can't even like have its servers up, like it's a game where a lot of pros play. Like people play professional
Hmm.
fights, and if you don't got your online stuff together, there's an issue.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also, now you also have to pay for the online now. It's not free anymore. So I don't know. It's just like you're paying this service that only half of it works. It feels really unfair. Exactly, look at that. So it's over 200 bucks. You have to buy the membership, you have to get this LAN cable if you want a stable connection, and you have to buy the game. And maybe a controller depending if you want to play professionally or if you just have a different preference or not. That's definitely over $200, dude. That's like, wow. That's crazy. I don't know. I think I guess for pricing and whatnot, you have to be really into the game to be willing to spend that much money. Um, which again, I can't speak for everyone for that, but I personally won't have an issue getting the game. It's the issue is just the online, I would say, and the whole LAN cable thing. But do you think you're going to be paying the online for it? I mean, I know you were kind of like really iffy on it, but with Smash and all,
Yeah,
and
one thing I hate about like consoles is paying online. That's one
yeah,
thing I really don't like.
mhm,
I do it because, unfortunately it's necessary now. Like
mhm,
you can't like play a lot of games without it.
right,
Kind of
yeah,
sucks, but it's what you got to do, and I can afford it. I do my best, to get the money to do all that. I do my chores around the house. I'm doing things to get money, and to spend it on freaking like membership. Like, come on, there's 3 consoles that I have. I don't want to spend it on membership. I'd rather spend it on games. You know,
yeah. I totally agree.
That sucks that that's what I have to use my money for.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. That's totally true. But I think the smartest thing would be, especially for those who don't have just money flying out of their pockets. I would say it just depends on what you're feeling the most. Maybe not necessarily like the console, although that would be the most helpful, but like the game you're feeling. Like let's say for example, let's give a perfect example. Around Christmas time, everyone, or you know, everyone who's into the game or at least has a freaking Switch will be playing Smash. So if you are in the mood of playing Smash for a really long time and you're willing to play the game just day in and day out maybe, then I would say go for it. Go pay for the online. But let's say for example, you know, you have an Xbox, right? And you know, Christmas time comes in and you have Smash to worry about and you really are just hyped for the game and that's all you're playing. Would you really spend money on the Xbox Live over the Nintendo thing? You know what I mean? I think that's a huge factor of what goes around that, you know, when it comes to paying stuff. I think personally, that's what I do anyway. I would just choose what I'm playing the most on what console and pay that membership instead. Because I find it personally really hard to pay 3 memberships, plus, you know, you got Netflix and Amazon and stuff. You gotta pay for all that stuff, you know. All that stuff has membership too. So I think it just depends on what you're playing, and if you are willing to play that for a long time, and depending on what deal you get, then just pay for that. I know for personal experience, I'm gonna say I'm gonna be paying for the Nintendo one more than the Xbox or even PS4, because I will be playing Smash for a good time. I remember I played Fighter Z for half a year, like a whole 6 months.
With the roster, unlocking all these characters, yeah, I'm definitely gonna be playing for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, if we played Fighter Z for like well over, you know, like 6 months. I played 6 months. Okay, I played 6 months, and it was definitely. It took. I mean, I don't want to say it took a while because I did finish the story pretty fast, but I don't know, just the game itself, you know, it made me want to play 6 months. And with Smash, with everything that it has, I don't know, I feel like I'm going to be playing for more than 6 months, maybe. I don't know. I feel like maybe that's a stretch, but I feel like it's going to be a long time. I at least that's what I'm hoping for, because, like, you know, with all these things, you would want to play a long time, you know? That's definitely what I'm going for. I don't know. That's what I would go for. I guess the Kryptonian disconnected from the party real quick, so I'm gonna re-invite him real quick. Just give me a second. I'm going to see if, you know, if he's having any issues. Let's see. Well, he's offline. I'll invite him real quick, and see if he joins back. But that was kind of a weird way to just quit like that, but I'm sure there's an explanation for it. But I'm gonna keep going with the stream anyway. If he doesn't join back before the stream ends, then that's fine, you know, it's whatever. But anyway, like I was saying, you know, it's a lot to play, and I just feel like if Fighter Z, with you know, no offense, but with the lack of content, or with the content that it has, better yet, made me play for half a freaking year, which is 6 months. That's a long time if you really think about it, of just playing one game. Then Smash should be no different. I feel like it should at least be 6 months at this point, because for me anyway, personally, because there's just so much going on for it, you know, which is a good thing. I really think that's a good thing, and I'm glad that it makes me want to play for that long, because I've been anticipating this game for the longest now, and I definitely am really hyped for it. I just think, oh man, I think it's a good game. I think personally it's gonna be a good game, no doubt about it. And you know, it's gonna be fun with friends too. I know it's gonna be fun by yourself, but I personally think, you know, once you beat the story and whatnot, I feel like with friends it really will strike out, and it'll be really awesome. Yeah, and let's see if there's anything else I could talk about. Well, I think Smash Bros. As a whole, I think Ultimate is the best one out there, even better than Melee and stuff. Even though I personally never really played Melee at all, I've really just jumped in the gun, if I'm being honest, at Brawl, like at the beginning of Brawl. I think, you know, Ultimate still is worthy of the #1 spot because, you know, it's just, man, it's so awesome for what it's going for, and it's definitely one of Nintendo's best games, you know. And I think that game alone deserves like the Game of the Year award. It's just a phenomenal game. I think it's going to be really good, personally. Definitely. I'm going to talk about a little bit of the speculations of characters that are going to be in the DLC, or what I think will be in the DLC. Obviously, these will be maybe even disproven, but you know, just give me a second, guys. The Kryptonian is texting me right now. He's having some issues with his Wi-Fi. Let's see if he can get back on before we end this. Alright, I texted him and see if he can join back. I don't know if he can. So obviously with the DLC, you know, it's such a shaky thing to speculate, because Sakurai himself stated in the direct that they haven't even decided any characters yet, or any stages or anything. In fact, they're even charging you for a DLC that hasn't even started yet. You know. So he says he's gonna try to get back on, guys. So let's see if he can join back. So let's see if he can come back on. But yeah, so, you know, I actually think it's a bold move for Sakurai or even Nintendo, to be, you know, charging people, something that they don't even have yet, you know. It's just, I don't know. I personally don't think I'm gonna get the DLC right away when I get the game. All I did was just pre-order the game. I don't think I'm actually gonna get the DLC too right now, because you can technically purchase it right now, I think, but I don't know. I don't think it's worth for me. Maybe for some people. I know some people are really into the surprise factor, where, you know, they're charging you a DLC pack and you don't even know what's in it, you know. Actually, Fighter Z did the same thing, where they didn't even announce any DLC characters, yet they charged people for the DLC, and I was actually willing to even pay for the season pass when it was announced, which at the time obviously they didn't announce any fighters, so maybe I'll do it for this DLC, who knows. Maybe. It's just that I'm just afraid, just like in Fighter Z or any other fighting game with DLC like that, are the characters I'm going to pick the ones I want, you know? Not necessarily are they good or not, but are they the ones I want? That's always the trick of the question. I don't know, it just depends. So we'll see, I don't know. If you're gonna support it right from the beginning, like even now, and just buy it, then more power to you. But I just don't know if I'm gonna do it personally. But in terms of like the DLC itself, yeah, I'll support it, especially if it's really good, you know. But right now, I don't know. I think it depends. I'll really have to think about that one. But anyway, let's talk about what I speculate in the DLC. So first off, will any of the assist trophy characters be eligible for this DLC? That's something that a lot of people are speculating and definitely talking about. I feel like maybe not. I think it's kind of safe to say that I think no assist trophy character is eligible, even if they're popular enough. I mean, I could be definitely very wrong, and you know, they might even announce a DLC character that's an assist trophy as well, but I just don't see how it would make any sense personally. So characters like Shadow or Knuckles are definitely out of the window. Characters I think that are going to be in the game, Gosh, 5 different characters. Well, if I'm being honest, if they're willing to go as far as to put Piranha Plant as a character, then I think it's almost a safe bet to assume that one of them would be someone as like Shy Guy. I think Shy Guy would be a pretty good safe bet, even though maybe not a lot of people would want that. But if you think about it, he's got all these different colors. And like with Piranha Plant, you know, he doesn't even have arms or legs technically. I mean, if they're willing to be that creative with Piranha Plant, I'm pretty sure Shy Guy is no exception, you know. I feel like they could do just about anything with Shy Guy as well. That could be one. A stage for him, gosh, I don't know. That's just any Mario level. I don't really know for that one. And the music, obviously, for the Mario, just Mario games. The next one, I would say maybe someone like King Boo, but again, it's another Mario character, and since there's only 5, I don't think Sakurai would just focus on 1 or 2 franchises. I think he would want to be as diverse as he can, possibly make it, so I think, I don't know, I think the King Boo one isn't such a bad idea, but I don't know if it'll make it in. The third one, that's a tough one, because there's even some characters that I've never heard about that could make it in, you know, so that could be even new to me. Gosh, third character, man. That's really hard. I don't even think I can finish the list, guys. It's just too many characters. I don't know. It definitely would have to be from a game, that's for sure. But gosh, what game? Maybe one from Tekken. That would be something. Fourth one, maybe another Street Fighter character. That's what I would assume. Another Street Fighter character. It would have to probably be Chun-Li. I think Chun-Li would be the likely candidate for that. And then the fifth one, oh gosh, man, I don't know. I don't know. I would have to think about that one. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really not sure. But at least I kind of speculated 4 characters out of the 5, so that's not too bad. They all seem relatively, you know, reasonable and realistic, but at the same time I feel like I could be completely wrong. So we'll see. We'll see if I'm wrong or not. What else can we talk about? Well, all the directs were really good, I would say, and I think overall, this game, like I said before, is going to be really good. There's actually something else I would like to talk about with the Grotonian, but he isn't here yet, so let me see if he's not even on yet. But gosh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think. I'm not sure if he'll be able to make it, guys, to be honest. Which kind of sucks, because, you know, there was at least one more thing that I wanted to talk about that, you know, that it would be better if, you know, I talked with him with, I guess I'll mention it. What I wanted to talk about was how Nintendo was is planning on releasing another Switch next year. I think that's crazy because, you know, the Switch just came out like a year or 2 ago, and it just feels relatively new for them to just announce and release a new freaking Switch. Obviously, it'll be like the same thing like the Xbox One X and Pro, where it's just like, or Slim, you know, where it's like, you know, very similar to the original console, just very minor details and changes, but enough to differentiate it from the original, I suppose. That's kind of the same thing. What I would want in the Switch would definitely be, you know, definitely a wider screen. You know how it has like the black borders? I would like them for Nintendo to extend that and have no black borders, similarly kind of like the 3DS and just like expand all the way to the edges of the actual screen. I would want them to do that. Maybe output also 1080p on the Switch, like when it's handheld. I think that would be awesome. Maybe some slightly better Joy-Con design. Maybe nothing too drastic, but something more, I don't know, conventional, and definitely nothing too alienated. Like, you know, the Joy-Cons themselves would be kind of an alien controller, but like, you know, I guess it works. But I would want something slightly more comfortable, something more eligible for certain games that make it, you know, uncomfortable. Like, for me personally, with shooters, I can't really do Joy-Cons very well with shooters. They're just really difficult. Just the Joy-Cons, though. But if they were to improve that, which I don't know how they could, but, you know, they definitely can. I know they can. I just don't know how. Personally, right now, I don't know how. But if they do that, then that would make it easier for me to play on the Switch much more. Another thing is they could port even more games that are on different consoles on the Switch, which I wouldn't mind at all. In fact, it's even easier if I can just use one console, pay one membership, and just get all these different games, all the exclusives on one console. That's even better yet. Obviously, some exclusives of other consoles do not apply to that, so I would have to still, you know, purchase the other console, depending on the game, get the membership and whatnot, and get the game. So it just depends there. But in terms of, like, you know, AAA titles and non-exclusive games, then yeah, they could port them, and that would be really cool too. I think that would be nice. The only downside, I guess, would be that, you know, are the graphics the same? You know, I don't know. That would be slightly debated, and it just depends. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about with the Kryptonian, but it just doesn't look like he'll be able to make it in time. I guess that's it. If we're definitely going to do a part 2, because I feel like that was, you know, totally uncalled for, and I definitely don't want this to be too long. Even though podcasts are meant to be long, but I just don't want it to be too long, especially since it's like our second one. But we'll definitely do a part 2 about this topic. We're basically going to be talking about it more generally, so it'll be a lot shorter, I think, just like the Dragon Ball FighterZ one. But you know, the part 2 would definitely consist more of the Switch, the new Switch. Maybe a bit more about Smash, just a little bit, and maybe just Nintendo overall, which won't take very long at all. And that's basically it, I think, for the part 2. So the part 2 will be at least a little bit shorter than this one. I don't even know how long this one is, but you know, I think that's it for this podcast. So it is really unfortunate that the Kryptonian got disconnected and he wasn't able to jump back in. That's typically how these podcasts work, you know, how they're more appealing when there's more people talking than just one, definitely. But, you know, it was something I can't control, and I'm sure he couldn't control that either, and, you know, it's just, it's a shame. It really is, because these are really fun to make, in my opinion, the way we're doing them, and, I don't know, they're just really relaxing and cool, but because we get to talk about what we want, you know. But I guess that's it. I don't know how else I could stretch it, you know, because we basically touched down on everything, you know, every minute detail. But I don't know. I really am thinking hard, guys, and I really am trying to help him out to join back in. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't really see any other way. If there's something else, we would have to do a second part. The second part might come out tomorrow or later today. We'll have to see. But yeah, I think, wow, it kind of sucks, but I think that's it. Yeah, I got nothing. I mean, all the characters, you know, I like certain characters and whatnot, but like that would make it even longer. So I don't know. Um, I don't know. It's just kind of funny to think how the first direct showed Ridley and all that, and like now it's just up to now it's just really crazy. I think the journey of where Smash is headed up until launch is just it's fascinating, and it definitely is really good. I think the game is just going to be one of the biggest, most played and best games of 2018 entering 2019. I just think even in 2019 it's just going to be one of the best you know, games of all time, in my personal opinion, you know. That's what I personally think. I don't know. I definitely do want to do a two-parter. I want to do a second part of this podcast with the same topic, but with more Nintendo side than just Smash. I definitely want to do it. I don't know when it's going to happen, guys. It's not easy doing these in terms of like getting a collaborator, but you know, you know, there's people with lives and stuff, so it depends. We'll have to see, but I definitely plan on doing the second part. I definitely do. I really want to do this. I really do. The second part, because I really just want to talk about this game, since obviously I can't play it, and trust me, I really want to play this game. But we're near there, you know, we're close, and this will be definitely one of the best Christmas presents that you can give to your loved ones or whatnot, you know, to your friends. I definitely recommend it as a gift. It's really a good one. So it is stated that if you pre-order the game digitally, you will get double gold coins, which, if you may know, you can use gold coins on the Nintendo eShop and actually buy games with that instead of real money. I think that's really cool. And you can also get Piranha Plant for free for a limited time, obviously. So, yeah, I think that's really cool. Man, I'm telling you, I think we touched on every little thing. But I think I'm gonna have to end it here and just do a second part. I don't know if he's willing to do the second part. I feel like he'll be kind of ticked off to be doing another second part, especially right after this one, but who knows? I don't know. I don't mind it at all, but I don't know. It just depends. But yeah, man, that really sucks. I stretched it as far as I could, man. I really did try to stall the best I could, but there's really nothing else I could really talk about in the grandest of details, you know, besides the Switch, which I kind of went into detail with what I know or what's out there in the info. I think that's it, you know. Man, but you know, that's it. If you guys enjoyed this type of thing, make sure to leave a like. That definitely helps a lot. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. And I would like to thank the Kryptonian for having him here for the time that he was here. And hopefully we will be able to do the part 2 very, very soon. And hopefully, you know, we won't encounter this problem again. Probably not, but who knows. But yeah, it was very fun, and I just genuinely like talking about this game. It was very fun. This game is definitely something that gets me, you know, to talk about a lot. It's, you know, it's just an overall a game that you can't really not talk about. You know, it's just really good. It's a game I've really been talking about a lot recently. It's a really good game. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Support voice actors. I really am supporting it. I think they were really good. I hope the story mode has more cutscenes. And you know, I really want the story to be kind of deep, like Subspace Emissary. I really do miss those vibes, because I remember when I played it, it was so cool, dude. But as you can see, some of the bosses from Subspace Emissary will return, so that's pretty cool. Like the mecha guy, that was pretty awesome. But you know, it's fine. I mean, at least we're getting a story mode. I mean, Smash 4 didn't even get any story, so you know, it felt kind of empty. compared to this one, if I'm being genuinely honest. So that's fine, you know. But yeah, I think that's it. So I hope you guys really did enjoy this podcast live stream where we talked about Smash. We talked about a little bit of Nintendo and stuff. The second part would definitely be more Nintendo focused, and more of the new Switch for 2019 focused, than Smash. And then after that, I don't know. But it definitely will be shorter than this one. I don't know how much shorter, but definitely much shorter. Hey, look, we have a viewer. What is up, Twan Lay? I probably botched that so much. I am so sorry about that. But what is going on, my mans? We were just talking about the Kryptonian was here for like a few seconds, but then he left because he got disconnected from the Wi-Fi. I don't know why I typed on the chat if you can hear me. That was pretty cringy, but never mind. You know, ironically, I was literally about to end this, but I mean, because I was trying to like stall because he got disconnected, and he told me he was going to try to get back, but he's not back yet, and it's been a while now, so I don't know. I would have to do a two-parter for this. But shout out to my man. I don't want to botch the name, but I have to shout him out. So Twan, I'm sorry if I botched that so hard. I'm so sorry. But thank you for jumping in. This is the first time I've ever had a viewer live in a podcast type of live stream. That's really cool. I hope we can, you know, have your support later on. You know, that would be really cool. And because there's definitely going to be a second part. That's what I was just like literally talking about like a few minutes ago. There's going to be a second part where we're going to be talking about the Switch for 2019. A little bit of the Smash here and there. Nothing too much. But you know, it's all going to be a bit more general. So it's generally going to be, you know, a little shorter. But you know, it's still going to be about Smash a little bit, and definitely about the new Switch, because the new Switch is an interesting topic, to say the least, and there are some things that I want for the new Switch that this one that we don't have, but at the same time, you know, the Switch just came out like a year ago, so it's kind of crazy that they're just going to, you know, release a new one. I don't know. I just think, I don't know. Also, shout out to my man who just subscribed to my channel. Thank you, my mans, for subscribing to my channel. That really helps a whole lot. I really appreciate it, and I'm really happy to have your support. And thank you for jumping into the journey, man. Be sure to check out my other videos. I definitely have some other collaborated videos with the Kryptonian and my brother as well. I put them in a playlist called Collaborations on my channel. You can find them all there. There's not a lot of them, but there's a few there for you to enjoy, and they're pretty lengthy too. So, you know, they're fun to watch. Yeah, most of my videos are pretty cringy, but like, you know, it's the good kind of cringe. At least in my opinion, I don't think it's anything harmful or anything like that. But you know, it's awesome that you're supporting my channel. I definitely hope to have you in the future, and you can join in my second part live stream as well, which I don't know when it will pop up, because I would have to get the Kryptonian to jump in, and I'm texting him and he's not texting back, so I don't know. I mean, he said he would be back, but man, it's been a while. I think it's been like 30 minutes and he hasn't been back yet, so we'll have to see. But the second part, hopefully it'll happen soon. I just don't know how soon. That's the issue here. I don't know how soon, but it'll happen. And be looking forward to that. And you can join in right in the live stream. You can interact with us. We don't have any problems with that. You can ask us questions in the middle of the live stream. You can, you know, say your thoughts towards the topic that we're talking about. Anything like that is completely fine. you know, it's all fine. So yeah, be looking forward to that, and I guess that's it for this video. Well, I hope everyone, including yourself, Swan, enjoyed, and thank you for subscribing. And I guess I'll end it here. This has been Xenoshift Gaming, and it was the Kryptonian as well. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace, guys.